Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Mihaich with Norton Abrasives, and
Bob Goldstein with Vermont Natural Coatings.
Okay, we're going to demo a couple of products today. Our new abrasive product, Blaze, and also our Norton VNC PolyWhey water-based finish. So I'm going to talk a little bit. First, we're going to do a demo with Blaze, sand some pre-finished floor, and then Bob's going to talk about PolyWhey finish, do a demo with that. I'm going to take this and kind of pass it around so people can take a look. So our new Blaze abrasives. It's a new ceramic grain technology. Now, we originally designed this. We've been working on this for a couple of years, and we designed this originally for the sports floor market to come up with a product that could more easily and quickly cut through like 20 coats of old poly on a gym floor to make sander's guy job a lot easier. But what we found after testing that was that it works really great on pre-finished aluminum oxide finishes also. It really cuts through them really fast, tears through the floor, cuts down the bevels. So what we did with it, we designed the coarse grits, 2436 grit, to be really open coat so that they don't load and that they can cut down through that finish really easily. But also, like our red heat abrasive, the ceramic grain there, one of the key features of red heat isn't just it cuts fast and long life. It leaves a really fine scratch. So those coarse grit scratches are really easy to clean up. So what we wanted to do with Blaze, even though we wanted to make it more aggressive, cut really fast, we wanted to keep that same fine scratch because we want to make the job easier for guys sanding floors. We don't want to put in this super aggressive scratch that now you have to go through another step, add another cut to get those coarse scratches out. So we designed this to have a finer scratch like red heat. So it's very aggressive, cuts through roll finish, but the scratch is fine enough that it cleans up easy. So 36 grit open coat, very aggressive, but cleans up easily with a 50 grit. Still gives you a fine finish. Also has an anti-stat backing, which helps with dust pickup. And the backing is very flexible. So if you are running a drum machine, like a rider, it's very easy to get on the drum. So I'm going to do a little demo here on this pre-finish panel. Yeah. So over the past couple of years, I would say up to a couple of years ago or a year ago, when we were testing this out, guys seem to have a pre-finished floor here and there. We'd say, can you test this? They say, I have a pre-finished floor, maybe coming up next month. But as of this year, it seems like guys are sanding pre-finished floors on a weekly basis. So all those floors that were installed, 10 years ago are coming up, need to be resanded. And a lot of them nowadays are really tough to get through. So we've been on some job sites where guys are trying everything left and right, going through tons of belts, just trying to cut through the finish. So what we found is this seems to be working much better than anything else on the market so far. And even just throwing on 36 grit belt, cutting through fine and not having to try and do any special technique, like some of the techniques we used to recommend with, hitting the floor first with like a finer grit, 80 grit abrasive to kind of scratch the floor, coming back down to a coarser grit. With this, you can just break it out, start with 36 grit, depending on how tough the finish is, maybe a 50 grit to get the finish off. So it's a small test on a small panel. It's not a large floor, but you can see there's a fairly tough finish on this floor, and it's just taking it right off, pretty easily. Some other products out there, you have to make a couple of passes, and they wear out pretty quickly. So again, very aggressive, but long life, aggressive, but very fine scratch. So aggressive to cut through the finish, take off that tough pre-finished floor, whether you have an old floor, tons of old tough finish on there, but easy to clean the scratch up. You don't have to add an extra cut in there. So overall, get the job done quicker, and better.
Again, I'm Bob with Vermont Natural Coatings. Earlier, Greg and I put a coat of our amber sealer on this panel right here. So right now, typically you get quite a bit of grain raise with water-based sealers. With ours, you don't get that much grain raise, and it buffs beautifully. We recommend a yellow sand dollar. And then we'll just have to vac it and tack it. And we didn't have a tack cloth, so I borrowed a T-bar to do our tacking with. So, you know, you got to improvise every once in a while, right? All of our products are whey-based. Well, whey is a leftover product from the cheese industry, which we've got a lot of cheese in Vermont, so we've got a lot of access to whey protein. Whey protein is a very sticky molecule, and that's what we use to cross-link our product. All of our products are single component. And very, very low VOC, virtually no odor, and easy to use. If you're sitting over here, you can see some of the powder that's coming off, and that's one of the beauties of this sealer is it powders very nicely, but it doesn't. You're not taking off a lot of the sealer. The sealer penetrates into the core of the wood.
Yeah, you can see it doesn't load up, doesn't ball up like a lot of other sealers do. So powders. If anyone wants to come down, you can feel how smooth this is. This thing buffs out as smooth as glass.
Anybody want to feel our floor? Now, this is our PolyWhey 3500. This is our premium product. It's a very, very high traffic, high-end premium water-based finish, again with whey technology. It's, again, single component, less than 95 grams per liter VOC, virtually no odor. You get 600 to 700 square feet per gallon. It can be T-barred, painter pad, roller, whatever your preferred method. You can use the dip and roll method or the European method, which you're going to use here, just where you just pour it out and keep bringing it back. You can direction really doesn't make a lot of difference when you're rolling the finish. It's very, very forgiving. It's also hot coatable, which by that I mean that after approximately 2 hours, depending on the relative humidity, you can put an additional coat on in the same day. So theoretically, under good conditions, you can get a coat of sealer and 2 coats of finish on in one day. And the beauty, if you've never rolled before, and if you guys want to learn how to roll, just contact us. We'll be happy to come out and work with you. My son Ron works for Norton and has been sanding floors since he was a little kid. He's pretty good at it. We're getting more and more into rolling floors. Where we did our business for many, many years in South Florida, there's a lot of high-end decorative floors with parquets and herringbones, border work, medallions, and things like that, and pulling a T-bar across that is just like murder. It's very difficult. With a good rolling technique, you can roll with the grain, across the grain. If you've got long hallways, it's much, much easier to roll your way out of a hallway than it is to T-bar, figure eight, and push it, and you know, it's easier on you physically. When you get old like me, you'll appreciate rolling. It's kind of like painting a wall, but gravity's helping you, so it just makes life a lot easier. Vanna, thank you very much. This is a 3/8 snap synthetic roller that you can pick up at your distributor or paint store, whatever. But we want you to use a quality roller that's not going to fuzz and fall apart on you for obvious reasons. You don't want to overwork the finish, and you want to get the spread rate that's indicated on the label. That's 600 to 700 square feet. Our product is made to work with thinner coats. Not only does it save you money, it just works better that way. It's if you use the wrong roller, if you use too heavy of a nap, you'll have issues with stippling. So, and that's true of pretty much any finish out there if you're getting into the rolling technique. Again, this is the European method. If this was a doorway, I'd work my way over here, and if, let's say I couldn't reach, and I'm already out in the hallway, I can come over here and get that all rolled in. Try not to leave any holidays. Smooth that out, work my way out of the room, and where you'll see some little lines now will completely disappear as the product levels itself out. And again, if you're doing decorative floors, that's awesome. If you're rolling across a medallion that's got a border and then an apron or something like that, it just makes your life so much easier. And if you take a deep breath, you notice you don't smell anything. You're not going to clear the house out. You're not going to kill anybody's goldfish. Their bird's not going to drop dead. They can be in the house while you're working. It's with our residential and our gym finish products, we've coated gyms with students in detention up in the atrium. And of course they weren't studying, they were watching us coat the gym. So if you have any questions?
Another couple of things with the finish. The sealer is probably one of the, aside from buffing out perfectly smooth powdering, it's probably one of the easiest sealers out there in the market to use. Other sealers, very difficult to use, got to work really quick, very easy to get burn marks in the floor. Even though some of them are designed not to pull tannins, you can still get some tannin pull. Our sealer, any kind of turn marks, lap marks, any kind of marks that are going to stay in the floor, they'll disappear as the sealer dries. So it's very forgiving for mistakes. And you'll get no tannin pull with the sealer.
Yeah, so you don't have to buy a special product just if you're doing white oak, where, that blocks the tannins. Ours naturally blocks the tannins in white oak. And this is, to some people this isn't important, but to some of us it's very important. Our sealer is less than 50 grams per liter VOC. Less than 50 grams per liter. The toughest in the nation for VOCs is Southern California at 275. So that's mind-boggling. And then with our finish at less than 95 grams per liter, you're doing something for yourself as the end user, and you're doing something for your customer, and you're doing something for the planet. I know it sounds kind of hokey, but it's true. This is a product that our company is owned by the local dairy farmers. We support the dairy farmers by buying the whey protein, and they support us. So it's kind of completes that circle. It's made in Vermont, right there in New England, every bit of it. And our co-brand partner, Norton St. Cobain, stocks it and ships it all over the country. And if you have any questions or you want to try it, we're really easy to work with. We like you to push us around a little bit.
Yeah.
Right, Tim?
Yeah. And also, again, it's all single component, as tough as two component finishes. So no mixing, zero waste. So whatever you don't use on one job, put the cap back on, use it on the next. $36. Yeah.
Greg made a good point, and I don't want to keep you all too long, but I've been in this industry for 45 plus years, and we've all seen this transition to factory finished floors. And, it's getting stronger and stronger every year. But the reality is those lifetime warranties are as good as the paper they're printed on. At some point in time, those floors are going to have to be sanded and finished or cleaned up and recoated. So now you've got the technology where you can go in there and sand it like you used to sand finish off of a floor back in the day before we came out with Blaze. And then you're still going to need the finishes, and you're going to be coming up with, we have product now that you can put on at the job site that's as safe as what they put on at the factory. If you understand the factory finished floors, they're done with 100% solids and they're cured with UV light. So, they have very low VOCs as well. So let's carry on that thought going forward.
That sandpaper you have, do you have that for measure as well?
No, just in belts and rolls. But, yeah.
Good question, though. Thank you.
He wants to try it.
You want to try and play with it?
Sand?
You want to sand it? You remember how to do that? McCool?
Sander?
Yeah, you remember how to run one of those?